The office was a tomb after hours. The relentless hum of computers had ceased, leaving only the faint, anxious rhythm of their own breathing and the intermittent groan of the building settling into its skeleton. For Sarah, Mark, Ben, and Chloe, the sprawling, shadow-draped workspace was no longer a place of tedious reports and endless emails. Tonight, it was a séance room. "This is stupid," Mark muttered, his arms crossed over his chest. He was the skeptic, the project manager who lived in a world of spreadsheets and logic. "We're adults. We're summoning a Mexican pencil demon via a grid on a post-it note?" "It's just a game, Mark," Chloe said, her voice a nervous tremor. She adjusted her glasses, the screen of her phone, the group's sole source of light, casting ghastly shadows up onto her face. "For fun. Everyone's done it." "The instructions are simple," Ben added, a sly, excited grin on his face. He was the instigator, the one who'd found the video online. 2 pencils, crossed over the words yes and no. "You ask Charlie, 'Charlie, are you there?' and if it moves to yes, well, then the fun begins." Sarah said nothing. She just watched, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. The silence felt thick. Oppressive. Like the darkness between the cubicles was holding its breath. With a theatrical flourish, Ben placed 2 yellow number 2 pencils into a perfect cross on the small square of paper on the breakroom table. The 4 of them crowded around, the circle of light from Chloe's phone making the setup look like a sacred, forbidden artifact. Ben leaned in, his voice dropping to a whisper that seemed to swallow all other sound. "Okay. Everyone ready? On 3. 1, 2. A collective, shaky breath. "Charlie, Charlie, are you there?" Nothing. Mark snorted. "See? I told." The pencil on top twitched. It was a tiny, almost imperceptible movement. A shudder. Then it rolled, smooth and deliberate as if pushed by an invisible finger, until it settled squarely over the word yes. A cold silence descended. The playful thrill evaporated, replaced by a primal chill. The air temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees. "It's a draft," Mark insisted, but his voice had lost its certainty. It was thin, reedy. "Charlie, Charlie," Ben pressed on, his eyes wide with a mixture of terror and delight. "Are you, in this room with us?" The pencil didn't just move. It spun, whipping around with such force it flew off the paper and clattered onto the Formica tabletop. The top pencil now pointed directly at Ben. A collective gasp. Chloe fumbled her phone, and the light jumped wildly, making the shadows leap and dance like demons. "Okay, that's enough," Sarah said, her voice tight. "This isn't funny anymore." "No, wait," Ben said, his grin now ghastly in the bouncing light. He repositioned the pencils, his hands trembling slightly. "One more. We have to ask who it is. The rules say you have to ask who the traitor is." "Ben, don't," Chloe pleaded. "Charlie, Charlie," he whispered, his voice urgent, almost hungry. "A traitor walks among us. Who is it?" They watched, frozen. The pencil began to tremble, vibrating against the paper with a faint, angry buzz. It shuddered, then started to drag itself in a slow, agonizing arc. It moved past Sarah, past a hyperventilating Chloe, past a pale and silent Mark. It completed a full circle, and for a heart-stopping second, it pointed at the dark, empty doorway. Then the lights above them blew out with a deafening pop. Plunged into absolute blackness, Chloe screamed. The sound was cut short by a heavy thud and the shattering of glass. Her phone had been dashed from her hand. "Chloe?" Sarah yelled into the void. "Everyone, just stay still. Don't move." A new light source flickered to life. The dim, green emergency exit sign above the door, casting a sickly, underwater glow. It was just enough to see outlines. Just enough to see that Ben was on the floor, clutching his throat, his eyes bulging. And standing over him was Mark. "Mark? What are you doing?" Sarah cried out. Mark turned. His face was different. The skepticism, the arrogance, was gone. In its place was a placid, empty calm that was infinitely more terrifying. His voice, when it came, was not his own. It was a dry rasp, a chorus of whispers scraping together from a ruined throat. He asked the question, the thing wearing Mark's face said. Charlie always answers. Ben gurgled on the floor, his legs kicking weakly. You're the traitor? Sarah stammered, backing away until she hit a cubicle wall. The thing that was Mark smiled, a horrifyingly wide stretch of the lips that showed too many teeth. No. The vessel. The one who invited me in weeks ago. He offered you all to me. A bargain for his own pathetic life. The pieces crashed together in Sarah's mind. Mark's sudden interest in the occult. His insistence on working late. This had been his plan all along. The game was just the finale. The unveiling. Charlie, the thing rasped, taking a step toward her. The emergency light flickered, and in the strobe effect darkness, she saw something else superimposed over Mark's features, something ancient and skeletal, with eyes of bottomless black. The game isn't over. He asked who the traitor was. But the question you should have asked is who I will name next. It raised a hand, pointing a finger at her. From the floor, the shattered screen of Chloe's phone flared with one last dying spark of light. It illuminated the paper on the table. The pencil, untouched by any human hand, was still moving. It carved a single, shaky letter into the paper, digging through the pulp with unnatural force. S. It was writing her name. Sarah opened her mouth to scream, but the only sound that came out was the same dry, rasping whisper that was now pouring from Mark's smiling mouth. The traitor had named his successor. And the evil among them had just found its new home.